going to have Trevor Lawrence on the list for the same reason. Trevor just turns the ball over too much, and he's very streaky. He wasn't very good to start last year. He was red hot to end it. Then he goes home, playoff game against Buffalo, and there's nothing. I don't know what I get week to week. Liam Cohen essentially saved his career. And I was the world's biggest Trevor Lawrence fan. And another guy that's...
Okay. There was nothing in that playoff game. I mean, I don't know about that. Jacksonville Jaguars fans, you guys know I love to talk about you and make videos about this. And so I really am going through the other list. I made a whole of the top 10 list, but I really want to highlight Trevor Lawrence here because I got some thoughts. I got some thoughts. These are the quarterbacks that missed the cut. Dak, Jaden, Jalen, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, and Trevor is actually the most interesting one for me. Trevor is the most interesting one for me for a collection of different reasons that I really want to discuss, but I want to bring up this as the top 10 list that Colin has. And so before we jump into it, before we do a little bit of a nice little deep dive because we know no one else is really talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So please Jags fans, don't forget to watch the full length of the video and subscribe. When you guys do that, views go through the roof. Subscribers go through the roof. And you know, it's not just about views. It's not about subscribers. Obviously, I want all the views and subscribers I can get. I know I always have to kind of give this message to Jags fans and I do apologize for it, but it's just Jags content and some other teams. It's just it could be so hit or miss. And I want to be able to make a Jags video right now and have people genuinely watch it so we see and discuss it. So we can have like real honest grounded discussions about this because I think there's really interesting topics to discuss and narratives to break down. And it's not the easiest thing right now to make a Jacksonville Jaguars Trevor Lawrence video, but it's like I'm still doing it, right? Like I'm still going up against it. And so if you guys watching the full video, by you guys subscribing and watching the video at the same time, it just goes such a long way. And so I'm optimistic that we're going to have a really interesting conversation here. So let's jump into it. I'm not going to unpack last season too much, okay? I'm not going to unpack that too much. I'm not going to be like, oh, he showed up. He, in the final 8 games or whatever, he had 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, right? Like I don't think that even matters in this moment right now because in a big game against say the Denver Broncos, I saw what he did. I saw that offense and it was awesome and I saw how prepared they were. Like that stood out to me more than anything. I remember breaking down a clip what they did, how they all rushed to the line very quickly and they were able to get this playoff and just how locked in and prepared they were. Receivers understanding when to come back towards Trevor. Like it was they're just so dialed in and detail-oriented. And that is Liam Cohen. And it was a great playoff game. I said this before, they got Josh Allen. Josh Allen is elite. Josh Allen is special. Josh Allen is unbelievable. You got Josh Allen. You absolutely just got Josh Allen. And that's okay. That is okay. But that doesn't make it an indictment on Trevor Lawrence. And I don't put this all on Trevor's shoulders, Trevor has not quite lived up to who he was supposed to be as a quarterback. And again, I'm not saying it's because he's just not good enough. It's like we know Jags fans especially know, right? Like it's been a little bit of a journey with what that team has been looking to build, the coaching staffs that they've had, right? Like things have been a little loose down in Jacksonville. But if we look at these quarterbacks who have missed the cut, you'd say that Trevor Lawrence has the most complete. If we look at like the attributes, right, like the physicality, your size, your strength, the arm, like all that type of stuff. You'd say out of all those quarterbacks, like Trevor Lawrence has that, right? Bigger, stronger, right? Like more so than Jaden Daniels, right? Has a longer runway ahead of him than a Dak Prescott. There's though the sense that Jalen Hurts is going down. Like Colin said, he's got zero momentum. Baker Mayfield is like, he's got a nice little bite, but like, he just is who he is. But then you combine that with coaching. To me, what makes it the most interesting is out of these quarterbacks right here, Trevor has the seed of the coach that I trust and love the most. Like I am a massive Liam Cohen fan. And I've said this a lot. Like there's other coach, like I'm not saying that he's necessarily the best coach in the NFL. That's Andy Reid. But, and then you could say that Sean McVay is obviously more experienced and ahead of him. But it's like if I had to choose to play for a coach right now, especially if I'm quarterback, like Liam Cohen is really at the top of my list. Really at top my list because I love his personality. I love his approach. I love the culture. I love how he gives you room to breathe. I love Ben Johnson. I would struggle to play for Ben Johnson. I've had a lot of coaches over my life, and so I have a pretty good idea of what coaches I can be and the type of coach that I want to be to other people. And it's like again, I think Ben Johnson is absolutely positively brilliant. I think he is absolutely positively brilliant. I would genuinely struggle to play for Ben Johnson, and I would absolutely thrive with Liam Cohen. And I just think that boat is so well. And so I think the future is so incredibly bright. And if we look at all of these quarterbacks right now, and again, I've already made other videos about like Jaden and Jalen. So like this is why like this is a different conversation right now. This isn't just purely which quarterback's better, which quarterback. It's like you have to factor in team. You have to factor in coaching, etc. Right? Jalen Hurts can absolutely ball out with Sean Mannion. Sean Mannion, their OC, could be a great. Sean Manning is going to get a job and go somewhere else. And it's like, okay, great. We start this journey all over again, right? We got to do that. Jane Daniels they just hired another offensive coordinator as well. Has never coached. Like he was like the assistant quarterback coach, and it's like, what's that going to look like? No idea, right? The most continuity that we have on this list is Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. And I'm going to be making a Jordan Love Matt LaFleur video as well. Because the way how I look at it right now is, and I kind of see Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence, I can make very similar videos, is that like it is time now to become that quarterback that like you could never dream of leaving off this list, that you could be like, well, we know they're top 10, right? Even if you want to put these quarterbacks in the Jared Goff, Sam Darnold type thing, right? Even if you don't want to put them top 3, top 4, top 5, whatever. But it's like it's time for Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Love. But this is we're focused on Trevor Lawrence right now, to like be firmly rooted of like, yeah, like Trevor and Liam are going to ball together because I believe in Liam Cohen that much. And so I believe that development is still going to go, and as long as they have a good enough roster, a lot of damage will be able to be done. Like it's time for that to really take root and to really feel like you're starting to accomplish and become the quarterback that Trevor was perceived to be and predicted to be. Like you absolutely positively have the coach to make that happen. The rest will be on the Jags to be able to make sure that they support the roster. But it's just like we should see way more moments of greatness, and even if for whatever reason the season unfolds over this year or the next few years, whatever, and like they don't quite have the right cast of characters there, right? The right run game or the O-line or, whatever it may be. It's like we should still see greatness. We should still see greatness. We should still see moments when we're like, wow, this Jags team had no one and yet they were still able to win 11 wins. And it's like, well, that's what happens when you have Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence, right? Like one of those types of takes where you're just like where Colin just goes on and says like, see, when you have the coach and the quarterback, right? You're always, and you can still make the playoffs, right? And it should be like, look, and again I'm not saying that's who the Jags are right now. I'm just saying like that's who they should be even in the years that the team isn't a Super Bowl contender necessarily. And it's time that when you do have an awesome roster, when you do have an elite O-line, an elite receiver, an awesome run game that sets up the passing game, like it's time to ball. It's time to ball. It's time to have Jared Goff seasons because again, say what you will about Goff, he's balled. When the team has been presented around him, he's balled. Sam Darnold did exactly what he needed to do to win a Super Bowl. He executed perfectly. Was he the perfect quarterback last year? No. But he was awesome. He was awesome. And so it's just like I look at it like this because again now Sam Darnold loses his coordinator, Clint Kubiak. It's like okay and Jared Goff has now lost Ben Johnson. We saw what that looked like with another coordinator. Now they fired that coordinator. Now they're getting another coordinator. People predicted that O-line's going to get worse. It's like what's that going to look for Goff now? People see Lamar is declining. Mahomes potentially declining. Stafford's on his way out. Ray Stafford's on the brink of retirement. Burrow can't stay healthy. Like those are obviously like not opinions. Those are just facts. And it's just like, okay. So then it's like it's time now for Trevor to be like, bro, I'm in my prime. Like I'm physically right there, right? Like I am not 35. I am not always banged up. I have an awesome coach. I have a smart young GM who's trying to make moves and be aggressive. And it's like, okay. It's like it's time to like really enter the equation, really enter the conversation, to really make these conversations feel more difficult of like, wait a second, you're leaving because put it this way, I make this video, I did, I covered the whole top 10 and now I broke down different, other individual quarterbacks with regards to it. And like the reality is, and this is the reality. I'm just being honest. This is the benefit of doing this and covering all the teams and not just focusing hyper-focus on one team. No one's really making a big issue out of Trevor Lawrence not being top 10. People are talking about Dak. They're talking about Jordan Love. They're talking about Jalen, right? Like they're having like what Jared Goff or Sam Darn. No one's like, I can't believe Trevor Lawrence isn't there. It's just not a common conversation right now. Some Jags fans absolutely. But the general fans, the fans that are, watching all the games and, just big football fans, they're not like, I can't believe Trevor's not there. How disrespectful. It's just not there. And again, for me, it's like it's time for Trevor to be at the bare minimum to be like, at the very least be the quarterback where people are like, are you kidding me? How is he not top? Like, 'cause you're always going to debate it. You're always going to be like, who would you rather have, Jared Goff or Dak Prescott? Well, Jalen Hurts has won. Multiple, has been to multiple Super Bowls and won a Super Bowl, but like he's been on a great roster. Justin Herbert hasn't won one playoff game, right? So, like, we're always going to have those debates. We're always going to have those conversations. And I went on a whole rant about like, how do we even rate and rank top 10 quarterbacks and what's the criteria? It's always going to be a moving target. So, to me, it's just like one of the barometers is like, well, how do people feel about lists like this? And what I always find it interesting, what quarterbacks do they hone in on? Do they focus on who's on the top 10, who shouldn't be there, or who is left off? And it's like just zero buzz about Trevor. Zero buzz. And it's like that's got to change now. That's absolutely positively got to change. And you have the coach, you have Liam Cohen, you have the support, and I think you have the roster that at the bare minimum should be putting you in that position where if you are left off this top 10, people are like, Trevor Lawrence has to be there. I'm taking Trevor over Goff or Sam or whatever. Now that Stafford has retired, like Trevor's got to be there, whatever it may be. Like that's how a segment like this lands, because it is really interesting, because again I'm making obviously a Jags video right now and Trevor Lawrence video, because again you guys know I like to do what I can, but it's like, I know very well Jalen Dak, especially all the NFC East teams, they're just so popular that it's just like there's so much buzz there's so much intensity there, right? So much intensity, and again even with Jordan Love. But it's like to see Trevor Lawrence and Baker Mayfield kind of sandwiched together, where people are kind of like whatever. It's like that shouldn't be. And you just had an unbelievable season last year. Unbelievable season last year. And you know people will talk about like, oh you know he kind of had a rough beginning but then he got hot and then the playoffs nothing. Which again I disagree with, but it's like the team wasn't supportive enough and Trevor Lawrence still played really awesome. I mean, 39 drops. 39 drops. 10.3% of his passes were dropped. That's pretty insane. That is insane. And he was pressured through the roof. Second most pressures and league leading in drops. That's pretty exhausting. If you're a quarterback, you can't get protected and your receivers can't catch the ball. Other than that, it's perfect. Just imagine what this team will be able to do and what Trevor will be able to do if you can actually protect him and cut those drops in half. Like you're going to talk about some pretty spectacular numbers. Think about all the drops and think about that he had 29 touchdowns and 12 interceptions and 4,000 yards. I'm telling you right now, you cut those drops in half, you're going to have, deep 30s of touchdowns, and you're going to have like 4,500 plus, because you're going to convert more first downs. You're going to obviously just get more yards, right? Like you're going to get more production. His completion percentage is obviously going to get significantly higher. I mean, his adjusted completion percentage was 73.6%. Which isn't amazing. Needs to be better, but it was 73.6%. 20th. So, it's like he also does need to be a little bit more accurate. Some of the drops were on him for making the wrong types of throws, which I've covered in the past. So, it's just like, it's not all just team failure here. So, he is a contributor of it, but it's year 2 continuity. Liam Cohen. It's like it's game on. It's game on. So, I'm excited to see the momentum moving forward. And for me, it's just like it's time to at least enter the conversation where when you're left off a top 10 list, people are at least arguing what? How is Trevor Lawrence not there? Like, that's ridiculous. And it's just not there yet. So, it's just like this season. It's like that's what I'm looking for. It's like that's what I'm looking for, at least for like the individual evaluation of Trevor Lawrence. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Trevor not making the top 10 being with these list of quarterbacks, and just the fact of what I'm saying of how like Ike does not, there are not people that are willing to stand bold and be like Trevor's got to be there. Or this is ridiculous in the way that they would for, some of the other quarterbacks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get some discussions. Let's get some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.